going on, guys? My name is Doug. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. I'm really glad to see you guys here today. Thank you so much for tuning in and stopping by. Today we're going to be listening to this new Conway the Machine album titled From King to a God. A very bold claim, claiming that he is a deity, and so we're going to be seeing that for ourselves today. Clearly we're not going to be judging whether or not he's a god, but I hope his music turns out to be better than my first reaction to Westside Gunn's album, Pray for Paris. That album grew on me quite a bit, but I did not like it the first time that I heard it, and you guys were very upset in the comment section. I'm trying to avoid a disaster like that, so I'm going to be trying to highlight the positives, and hopefully this is a little more approachable than Westside Gunn's album. I know one of the major obstacles for me was Westside's voice, and I know that Conway has a voice that to me is a little more easy to listen to, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that won't be, any obstacle that stops me from really enjoying this album. So I'm not extremely familiar with Conway and his music. I'm not the most well-versed in Griselda in general. I really have so much music to catch up on. If you've been watching the live streams, you will know, because a lot of people have been recommending so much music to me, and I have never heard a whole lot of it. So I am currently doing classic album reactions, albums that I have never heard that are considered classics by most hip-hop heads from the 90s, from the early 2000s that I've never gotten a chance to listen to. Those videos are currently going up exclusively for the patrons on Patreon. Right now I have a reaction to ATLians that is up there, and right now I put out a poll on Twitter, and currently Aquemini is beating out Get Rich or Die Trying and All Eyes on Me. You can go and vote on Twitter, and then you can have access to those videos on Patreon. All tiers get access to it, even the $1 one. So I've been making some changes to the Patreon, the tiers and the rewards and things like that, to really try to make things worthwhile for the patrons and give back to them, because they've been so generous in supporting the channel the way that they do. With that said, follow my social media, and I think that's all the plugs that I have to get out of the way before we really jump into this album. I will say that some of that construction is still going on over at my neighbor's house, so I've got the windows shut. I'm really trying to drown out the noise in the background, but you may still hear a bandsaw going every now and then, or some hammering. There's really nothing I can do about that. I could let them stop me from recording, but you guys know that a man's gotta eat, and so I gotta get this money, I gotta get this revenue from YouTube, and nothing's gonna stop me from putting bread on the table, because I love bread. So with that said, also it's a warm day. I have the fan on in the background, but it's on the lowest setting. You shouldn't really be able to hear it too much. So with that said, let's jump into this. The first track is From King.
It is not something to which you are a stranger. Feeling faded, so many verses of the year that I've written, I'm feeling jaded. Jail call, that's how we doing. He smiled me behind my back about the shit that I bought. I bet them niggas is soft, cause I done stacked so much take control. I had a Brody up the can slow. I gave all my shooters the ultimate.
I like this production. It's very simple, but it's very appealing to me. This is going on for a bit too long. I will say, I do think that, I get why you would include all of those different little samples in the beginning and towards the end of the track, to really give it this emphatic, triumphant introduction. It's super cinematic and interesting, the way that it kind of introduces us to the album, and it's just this big moment, right? This here I am moment. I totally understand that. But if we're looking at this like a song, it's definitely that end portion that's over a minute long. If I'm going to be re-listening to this, which I probably am, I'm going to be skipping that end portion. And so with that said, it does feel like it goes on for a little bit too long, you know what I mean? But his verse though, this is gutter rap, and what that means to me is the subject matter is going to be primarily focused on the streets, the street life, drugs and drug pushing, drug dealing, and then going from that to becoming, rich and rapping, and the ins and outs of business and things like that. These are businessmen who came off of the streets, and so they have a different outlook, and that's really what this is going to be for me. And this verse that he spits is very much in line with that train of thought, and so it's exactly as I expected, but it's delivered with that confidence and swagger and bravado that really is convincing. And even though that he really was about that life, if you didn't know that, the verse and his performance would have convinced you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. So I really like the way that he performed that verse. I like how simple the production was, but the guitars and the really simple just kick, keeping time, was really dope in my opinion. So I'm not mad at that at all. I don't think it's a stupendous intro to this album. Definitely replayable. It's definitely not a track that I would skip. I would just skip the end portion. And I think that his verse was really, really cool. So Fear of God featuring Dejloaf is next. Let's go. I love Dejloaf.
Yeah, all praises due to the Most High. Remain thankful and humble. That's just some rules that I go by. Don't blow by. That's right. Jack dope playing most. Black on both sides. Was in the streets, but I stayed in a boat ride.
Yeah.
Every nigga in my section live. Know some shooters that's bustin'. This my first album, my best to ride.
Wow.
I hear niggas still in my lane. What we don't
Fire. That's on the playlist. Love this beat. Hit Boy did it. That's why it's so dope. Let's go. Wow. Dejloaf is fire on this. This is what I'm talking about, dude. This is one of the reasons why it took me so long to get into Pray for Paris, because it's gutter rap, but the production isn't extremely modern. It's very classic, it's very glamorous, it's very sample focused. Whereas this one's got the modern, loud boom bap drums that are really hitting and punching through your speakers, and that's the sort of energy that I really, really like. Even though, they're both very great at performers, and they're both very great with their subject matter and their lyricism, the production on this is more appealing to me. It really took me a little bit of time to appreciate the production on Pray for Paris, whereas this is immediately, instantly approachable for me. So that's really, really what I'm looking for, man. Dejloaf, her vocals are very heavily processed. At some points it does sound almost unnatural, but I've come to expect that kind of sound. I've come to appreciate that very heavily processed sound from her. So I think that she sounds great on this track. And Conway just murdered his verse, So, this is just everything I'm looking for. And it's a quick song, too. So that's just a cherry on top. Really dope. That one was on my playlist about, less than a minute in. I knew I was in love with it. So, really cool. Track 3 is Lemon featuring Method Man. Let's go. This is the kind of production I had to learn to appreciate. The guitar is so sweet. Wow, 6 on the dock. Oh my God, 6 on the dock is great.
I can't lie, his mama ain't shedding tears. She know that come with this life. Thought of
Not a big fan of the lemon squeeze, but it's okay.
Just stick the needle in. The goose is all quite big enough to fit the seagull in.
Yo, the flow. Oh, Method Man is the illest. Fire. Method Man just put out the best verse on this project so far. The way that he flipped I prefer the old meth, the prequel then. You've heard that bar so many times, people saying, oh, everyone wants the old me. Everyone wants me to be the way that I was, or whatever. The way that he flipped that, saying that now he's the prequel, is something that is just so unique and so creative, man. Because basically what he's saying is, if this is a prequel, that means that he said they want the old me. Well, this is the prequel then, which means it's even older and in their eyes doper than the original. You know what I mean? Because he's even older than his old self if he's a prequel, because he comes before the original. So he's saying he's iller now than he's ever been. So if you like the old Method Man, this is even better than what he used to be. So that's so clever the way he flipped that, man. Although we all know it's very tough for prequels to be better than originals. I like the prequels though, I'm just saying. Super dope, man. I love that production. I think that it's super, glamorous and super classic. It's got a classic feeling to it with those samples. The guitars are so nice. Those little keys that come in, so sweet, dude. And Method Man, like I said, best verse on the project so far. Track 4, Doe and Domanion.
I'm the Don, cop the Don, threw 4G on it. Shots with me, and I tell him I was simply playing chess instead of checkers. Blue hunters and bags. I told the bro, wear your gloves and cover your face with mags. Not every pole got a beam, we playing laser tag. Real shit, foreign assets, and I ain't even in.
Wow.
Already got it, I got it, I already got it. Cats, rap is my new hobby. My shooter blues bag, now he looking for and I personally get offended. Cause every single verse is a verse of the year contender.
It's definitely a different lane from a lot of modern music, you know, a lot of modern hip hop. It's not super loud and in your face, but it's just this vintage kind of sound, you know. The drums are very muffled, and the focus is heavy on the actual sampling and the chops and the instrumentation going on in the actual sample, right? The production is focused more on the arrangement of that sample with just the very basic drum loop over it. And then having it all sound very muffled and very like classic, like it's coming off of a vinyl or a tape. So like I said, it's a very different style, but it's just something it's a sound that The Alchemist particularly has mastered. And I don't know if he, like I said, produced both of these beats, but I know that Conway shouted him out on the first one, which was really dope. But the second one just sounds so sinister and like it's almost like a mob boss anthem kind of beat, you know what I mean? So I definitely prefer the second one. It's just so mesmerizing. And, you know, this isn't a great song to react to because, like I said, it's not very modern and it's not super energetic. It's definitely very focused on the lyricism, and it's more like a private listen kind of song where you really appreciate the lyricism, the bars, and the quiet production, and it's just that vibe. But I do enjoy it heavily. And it is 5 minutes long. I do think they maybe could have kept a minute off of it. You know, and not had the loop go on for so long towards the end, but it's still such a dope track. Despite my reaction not being extremely over the top, this is just how I listen to this kind of music, so really liked it. Track 5 is Juvenile Hell. Let me take a break because I need some water. My throat's getting kind of dry, so I'll be right back. Got that thing on me. Sippy cups for the win, bro. Hey, I don't know, wherever you are, drink water, stay hydrated, take care of yourself. Let's get it. Track 5, Juvenile Hell.
For a rap and I'm still in action. 32 bullets fill the Mac clips. My niggas active. Hollow tips. Break the gas down and fill it backwards. I just opened this back. It was be a bars broke. I work hard right off dope. I sold raw coat. My heart broke. On the yard, get your jaw broke.
Love the bass. Fire.
See-through clips. You better pray that bitch jam.
The clock ticking, tick, tick. Nigga, then you spit. When to put money on it, tick, tick.
Ad-libs.
That 40 got a mean old kick. Steps. And young coming running with the grip in his sweats. Black kid, Corona mask, Cali homie.
I put this one on my playlist. Love the energy, super aggressive.
With a bottle of smacking a nigga horizontal. It's so survival, you spend money, be going tomorrow. Pour out a bottle, you slip up, nigga, bit of blood pool, we be watching you.
Yeah. I swear I'm not bored. Just woke up early today. Fire, dude. Loving all the features, loving how aggressive this beat is, and their performances too. That's a great song. I added it to my playlist. Just that energy is everything I'm looking for. Track 6 is Words from Shay, interlude.
I've heard, like, period. He's one of the top lyricists from industry, wherever. He's zoning out. He gonna take a beat and he go bring something to it every time. And for me,
that's like, dope, dude. That's dope.
You
can hear how much he respects him. It's really cool.
Time, you know.
Really dope. This is Frontlines, track 7.
Just wanna be me. I do the streaming numbers with the vinyl and the CD. Prettiest next to Riri. See me feeding
next to Riri? Yo, must be beautiful. Good God, yo. I swear I'm not bored by this album. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm yawning because I got a really early start today. And I didn't get enough sleep last night, so please don't feel like I'm bored or anything like that. Because I know the patrons get the full version of the video, so you guys are gonna see me yawning all over the place and you're gonna think I'm bored. That's not it, that's not the case, I swear. How many seconds was that?
Pocket leaning on his neck with his knees. Cracker invent the laws, that's why the system is flawed. Can't watch you kill my brother, you won't have to kill us all. Just cause he's from the ghetto, that don't mean he's selling crap.
Man.
For his ID, you think he reaching for a strap.
Yo, that's some real stuff, yo. Yo, that's a great song. Seriously, like this real stuff, just real factual lyricism coming at you hard. I'm not a huge fan of the hook, you know, but the song itself is just undeniably great. Like the beat is super simple, but it's nice and it sets the tone for him to just get these things off his chest, and it's just really dope the way that he does it, the stories that he manages to tell with his lyricism. The picture that he manages to paint in your mind as you listen to what he's saying is just It's really, really masterful the way that he wrote this. Yeah, the image just comes across super cleanly. You can understand exactly what he's trying to say. And that's not always the case with some rappers, so that's really impressive. Track 8 is Anza. Hey, look at the tempo! Oh, those melodies are so sick. Yeah.
When you see me,
It had to be Murda, bro. It had to be Murda Beats. So sick. I knew that this is different. This is a different style than what we normally hear these guys on. I'm gonna restart this. Murda killed that. Murda ripped it. Murda on the beat, so it's not nice. Fire. Love the 808s, bro. So fat. Let's go. Stay in pocket. It's lacking just a little bit, but he managed to keep it up. Still a dope flow. Wow. They need to use beats like this more often. She's ripping it. Big shout out to Murda Beats for that, bro. I wish they would use more modern beats like that every now and then. It's fire. The tempo is just, it's a banger, you know. The tempo's like faster paced. It's a little tougher to keep up with, you know, when you've got a very lyrical verse. But he managed to do it. He managed to find a really nice pocket and flow really well on this track. The energy was just great. The bounce was, you know, killer. And Armani Caesar really ripped her verse. So that's a fire song. That's a playlist track for sure. And I think that might be one of the more approachable tracks off of the project, because that one's more in line with like what's really popular right now. But I'm loving the track, the project as a whole, but that track is just like, it's definitely one that's that you would show somebody who's not extremely familiar with Griselda or with Conway, to really kind of let them, you know, get into the style a little bit. Track 9 is Seen Everything But Jesus featuring Freddie. Let's go.
things I can't take back.
Wow.
I was trying to just get my respect. I'm the nigga and my babies is crying. I'ma forever stay silent. Look, a lot. City I'm from get risky a lot. Gotta get you a Glock in case you gotta lick a few shots. When you come home, I plan a blessing. Cause we spoke about it like 2 men and now it's corrected. That's little bricks out of that nigga. They still shot him and fled. Police called him both 2 days later.
Another playlist track, bro.
In the name of Jesus, I ain't scared of death. I scraped that Paris till it ain't nothing left but the Christ. Said about my family members, man, sometimes your blood ain't right. Couldn't afford new J's, I wipe my for the police. Every they caught me with my weapon.
This flow.
The COVID shit, it ain't no test.
That's another playlist track, another standout song. With great storytelling, incredible lyricism. Freddie Gibbs had a killer verse in there. He found a really dope little pocket. Great beat. I mean, what more can I say? You know, the track speaks for itself. Listen to it. You know what I mean? Listen to it. It's great. Freddie's having a killer year, and Conway just ripped it as well. So it's a dope song. Track 10 is another interlude, words from Shay. And that's going to transition into Spurs 3, featuring Benny the Butcher and Westside Gunn.
Oh, from now, as I see what they're doing, I think I really see the work that they put in, the work that we plan on doing, you know, through my brethren.
Look, detectives combing through the hood looking for a corpse, Draco hitting. I snort. I had an outstanding warrant for a short. Turn myself in, rock and loose. My niggas dropping bodies for the sport. Violators got tragedy with.
These little dissonant kind of bells going on in the background are a little tough to get into. But once you do, they're so sinister. You know, they're so evil and ominous in the background. They really set a great tone for these guys to come in and do their thing the way that they always do. Just this gritty, like, dark kind of vibe. It works. It works, even though they are a little dissonant and a little cluttered and kind of messy. That's kind of their thing, you know? So it works. I like it.
Wake up, brush my teeth with the Mac.
Brush my teeth with the Mac?
From pots with powder around the edges. This the grind that I perfected. I had to dodge a lot of questions. Lost your bitch, I haven't seen her. The cap shop bringing attractive singers. A baddie, he talking, playing little games. This a man's world. You at your best when you middle-aged.
Normally, I wouldn't really like that beat. Like, even towards the end, when only the beat was playing, it wasn't working for me. But when they're rapping over it, it works, you know? It's such a really interesting thing. It's very special, the way that they make that kind of dissonant, weird, kind of strange melody work for them and serve their purpose, you know, of creating this really ominous vibe for them to spit their truth over. It's really crazy, but it works for them. The next track is almost 8 minutes long. Forever Dropping Tears. Let's get into it.
When Domanion first got shot, my motherfucking dog went to the same school, used to ace and jump the gates after we bust shots. A young wild adolescent, packing a wrestler, same clothes, going half on the sub of the month. That was my world. Used to go try to smoke away the pain, I couldn't shake it. I wish my nigga was here to see that it's yo, they need to feel, cause I know they want to be.
That's crazy.
That's why I'm rapping these words now, crying tears in this tissue, my nigga. When I got out the hospital from them shots, I survived. You recorded me and helped me get confidence in my steady make it out this trip.
This is a great song.
I keep that 40 yo, they need to feel, cause I know they the fucking greatest, nigga. I'm a legend.
On a different ride, like Westside is gonna put you in a mind state of to nobody, because if you ask me, they're compared to the best. They probably say they compare.
That's really, really dope, man. That the ending the song with that kind of like how could I say that interview, I guess, where someone was asking him what he thought about, you know, Conway and Benny and Westside Gunn, and having him, you know, talk about what they mean to him and how they're real lyricists and how they're top 5 to him, and comparing him to the greats is like, it's super dope. The track itself has a really dope little beat to it, but I was really focusing in and honing in on his lyrics, because this is basically like a love letter to the friends that he's lost, you know. It's super sad, and he manages to get across how much respect, how much love he had for them in these lyrics, and he really manages to get you to feel something, to get you to feel sad for these people that he's lost, and sad for him for having to go through it, and for you know, having to go through these all emotions. And he takes you on this like ride of just feelings and emotions and sadness and pain, and it's very, very good music. It's super passionate and real and raw. I was silent throughout the thing, really. I mean, it's a really tough track to react to because you're just so enthralled by what he's saying, but it's just super dope. Like, yeah, it's 8 minutes long, and yeah, probably if you're going to come back to it and re-listen to it, you might skip the latter portion with the interview and things like that just to listen to the music itself. But I feel like the entire thing is necessary. I feel like that interview at the end is necessary. The tribute kind of portion where he's just, you know, riffing towards the bridge portion of the track is necessary. It's just a really well made song, for sure. I like that as a tribute track. It's super, super dope. Track 13 is Jesus Crisis. Wow, look at the pocket for the snare.
Yeah.
It's off beat, but it's on beat, you know?
When Louis don't fuck around, get shot in your coupe. I be rocking this throw out with a 2-piece. I usually got the throttle when the product cross body. I'm Gucci, I ain't even been writing, I just been going in.
Yeah.
They say the eyes is the windows to the souls of men. I'm humiliating, I barely announced it. Rapping better than niggas, I can barely pronounce it. Lyrics written in braille, nigga, you gotta feel it to understand. So when they say whoever, I'm like,
wow.
Niggas try blocking my goals, I'ma make it messy. My OG talk.
Sick track, really quick fix of just gutter rap music. Loving the strings in the background, the swing to those drums is just crazy. His performance is so charismatic, so energetic, you know, so full of like bravado and braggadocio. It's addicting to listen to, you know. It's a really dope track. It's a little bit of like a one-off song, I think, but it's really dope. The last track is Nothing Less.
Streets when I release a single, no, I'ma always keep it a C-note, 100 niggas. The Mac and back daughter, probably rapper in the carpet, let her body go splash in the hard land. Yeah, raw, nothing less, so more. Keep 2 shooters by the door and they gripping the 30. That's why they both got 50 pointers like Mitchell and Murray. With a fiend, clean your whole backyard just to smoke a piece. Little brother still keep the 5 on post release. Keep it keeping it raw. You know the street back some more.
Really dope little groove to this song.
You know this for the culture. Rest in peace, DJ Shay. Keeping it raw.
And that's the album by Conway the Machine, From King to a God. I will say this off the bat, I think this is better than Pray for Paris. I think so. I've listened to Pray for Paris I don't know how many times, and this is already more enjoyable to me, so I can only imagine that it's going to get better with subsequent listens, you know? Just more approachable, well, it's easier to listen to in terms of his actual vocal performance. The beats are better, I think. You know, although the beats on West Side Gun's album are really, really dope, they've got more of that classic kind of vibe to them, and here he manages to switch things up a little bit. The variety keeps it more interesting and more fresh, in my opinion, so I think that's dope too. I do love the features on West Side Gun's album. Joey Badass, Tyler the Creator, you know, they had really dope verses. I think Freddie was also on West Side Gun's album, if I'm not mistaken. But I still think this is better. I think this is one of the best albums to drop this year. Super enjoyable off the first listen. Forgive the dog barking in the background, guys. Seriously, there's nothing I can do about that. Yeah, everybody needs to go listen to this. Everybody needs to go check this out. This is seriously a really great album. I had a blast listening to it. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel and for rocking with me. I'm going to be back in another video really soon. Until then, stay safe. Be sure to follow my social media. Support the channel however you see fit by becoming a patron. And remember, you can get access to this video uncut, unedited. And you can also get access to my exclusive, patron-exclusive classic album reactions. I did one to ATLians, and I'm going to be doing one to whichever album wins the poll that I posted on Twitter. So thank you guys. I'll be back soon. Peace out.